Hi, and welcome along to a game of two halves. Trip it up here. Over here on DR Sports with my man Mark Goldbridge in the building. Mark, how are you doing?
Good. I think it was actually a good weekend of Premier League football. Some actually good games to watch. Not totally happy with United. Still a bit frustrated, but we've got a title race, got a relegation battle. It's so tight in the top 10. All in all, it's the Premier League. It's looking good despite crap officiating.
Yeah, I mean, I was a bit frustrated this weekend as well. After our game, although again, I thought it was a brilliant game. If you're a neutral fan watching that game, that was a great game, and you got to hand it to Sunderland with their performance. But we'll get to that. Let's start off with the big game of the weekend, which of course took place yesterday. It was Manchester City versus Liverpool. I remember over on your channel on Friday, we were both sort of like, where do we go with this? Do we go Liverpool? Do we go City? Do we go for a draw? We couldn't make our minds up really decisively on who would win this game. However, when the game took place yesterday, it was a one-sided affair. Manchester City absolutely dominating Liverpool. I could not believe how easy it was in that win. Talk to me, Mark. What did you make of the game?
I thought Man City were very, very good. And we were just talking briefly before we started there about how poor Liverpool were. But I think even at 0-0 before the penalty, which I don't think was a penalty, and before the Haaland goal, there just seemed to be a lot of space at that Liverpool defence again. And I thought, I don't get this. You know, you've beat Real Madrid, you beat Villa, you've had a bad season, and you've come to City and you're defending like that. Don't think Konate's head's in the game. I don't know why they've got themselves in a situation where a player's probably running his contract down again. Van Dijk needs somebody next to him who's better than Konate at the moment. And Man City were just up for it. They started quicker. They were more aggressive. They looked more dangerous. I mean, it could have been worse for Liverpool. I mean, the fact that they lost convincingly anyway, and it could have been worse, is worrying. And Man City did a proper job on them. And as I said to you before, I don't like Man City for obvious reasons, but they're probably the best team I've watched this season, footballing wise. They're the best team we played. Obviously, we haven't played Arsenal at the Emirates yet, but they're not like the old Pep side. They're actually a little bit more direct. They're a little bit more interesting to watch. It's not so slow and lethargic. And look, I don't want them to win the league, but I think we've got a proper title race now. I think yesterday was about who's going to challenge Arsenal, and I think it's very clear it's going to be Man City, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, they look really, really good. I thought Doku, that was the best game I've seen him play for Manchester City. We all see the potential in him. Me and my brother argue about him a lot because my brother loves him. And I'm always saying to him, yeah, he's great, but end product. Well, he showed end product yesterday. I think they said that was his first goal since he scored a goal against Ipswich last year. So that just shows you that he doesn't do it enough. No. But when he's on form like yesterday, he's unplayable. I mean, he gave Liverpool all kind of problems. Bradley, who had a great game against Vinicius Jr., he was on toast. And Haaland, of course. What did you make of the disallowed goal? That's caused a lot of controversy. Did you think that goal should have been disallowed, or do you think it should have stood?
Look, we talk about this week after week after week. Take away Man City and Liverpool. If you're a Man City fan, you're going to say it's offside. I'd do it if it was United. But if United had scored that goal, I'd have been breaking the studio. Like I said, it's a goal. I was stunned by it because I was like, oh my God, how have Liverpool made it 1-1? And it could have been a different game. But the problem is, that's got to be a goal. It's such a bad decision. And I saw what Carragher said on Sky afterwards, and I was saying it on our watch along. When you look at Donnarumma, he's not impacted by this at all. He goes to go right because he thinks that's the way that Van Dijk's going to head it. And then he sees it go that way and he moves that way. He's not impeded. So how they watch that and go, Robertson's in the way. I mean, Robertson is in front of Donnarumma for a little bit, but as soon as the header happens, Donnarumma's not impeded. That goes in if you take every player off the pitch apart from Van Dijk and Donnarumma. And we shouldn't be trying to stop goals. And that was a goal for me. I think
I think the only thing for me, though, right? I mean, yes, it's for me. I think it's one of those that could go either way. So I think if you've given it on the pitch, it should just stay as a goal. But the only thing I'd say, right, is Robertson ducking down. Now, it's not a clear path no longer for the keeper. Like, yes, you can, like, I saw Jamie Carragher analyze it as well. He's micro-analyzing it, right? Yeah, he's moved slightly this way and that, but I don't know, man.
Trouble
It's
is,
like,
Robbie,
like you said, it's one of those. If it was given against me, I'd be moaning, because I'd be like, yeah, but Robertson, you are standing in an offside position and you do duck down. Maybe they should just bring back what they used to have, which is if you're in the offside position like there, it's just offside. I don't know, man. I don't know. I get confused by these rules.
but that's the problem, isn't it? Because we've seen so many goals given. I think United had one not that long ago this season, actually, with De Ligt or something like that. Someone was on about that yesterday, and we've seen these goals given. And I just think in a game of that magnitude, it's not like we get games that are 6-6 every week. We sometimes have 0-0s. We should be finding ways to give goals, not take them away. And I thought Michael Oliver on VAR, I think it has to be said, like, some of his decisions yesterday, like getting involved in that penalty, he is just a problem. And Liverpool fans are going to go mad about it, but he's a problem for Man United. He's a problem for everybody, apart from Man City seem to do all right out of it over the years, but that's not the point. It's he's just ridiculously bad at his job, because you look at Doku kicking McAllister at Anfield a couple of years ago, not a penalty. And then he goes and gives that. And then you look at the Brentford game where they should have had a penalty, don't get it. It's just like,
it's crazy.
He's got a habit, and when he's on VAR, of overruling the referee. I would never have him on VAR. He's an arrogant referee who should only be on the pitch. He should not, because VAR is only meant to get involved when it's clear and obvious. And there's a couple of decisions yesterday where he's got involved, and like you said, it's not clear and obvious.
Yeah, I mean, I would have just, like, goal was given on the pitch, I would have just stuck with that. But listen, I don't think it would have made any difference. I mean,
Man City were good. They were good.
Liverpool would have got smoked anyway. I just felt they were so poor on the day, so lackluster for such a big game. That's not the Liverpool I know. You know what I mean? And Liverpool normally energy, action, players like Salah, Ekitike, they were missing. I mean, like, it was a really bad day at the office for Liverpool, and great for City. And they took advantage of Arsenal slipping up in a great game. I was at the game up there at the Stadium of Light. Arsenal conceding their first goal, right, for ages. It had to come, and it was a great goal by an ex-Arsenal player. Well, he was at the academy, Ballard, with a great finish as a defender. What a goal that was, right? But then fair play to Arsenal. The second half performance by them was brilliant. Got back in the game. Great goal by Saka with Declan Rice. And also, then Trossard with another brilliant goal, made it 2-1. Looked like Arsenal were going to see it out, but right as Sunderland have done this quite a few times this season, right at the death, scoring an equaliser that dented Arsenal's sort of, well, I wouldn't say dented their title hopes, but a little bit of a setback, because they were on the verge of a massive 3 points and opened the title race up. But big up to Sunderland. As I said, I was at the game. I thought they played really, really well. Very, very aggressive and physical. I do think the referee in that game as well, for me, I weren't having him. Like, he allowed too much. I mean, Saka literally got kicked from pillar to post, and he put the yellow card on that player who was dishing out all the fouls on him with about 15 minutes to go. He's already had the whole game of kicking him, right? And also, for their first goal, I'm sorry, what did Zubimendi do wrong with winning the ball?
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, what is this referee doing? But he was one of those that was definitely influenced by the crowd. Listen, you play at home, you get a bit of an advantage with the crowd. Their crowd were brilliant. The Arsenal crowd brilliant as well. And I just thought it was just a fantastic game of football, to be fair. And fair play to Sunderland, a promoted team who are doing really, really well.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. The only thing I would say is I've been looking at Sunderland with mystery for the last few weeks, because I only watched them play one game against us, and they were crap. But I think on Saturday I saw what it's all about. I mean, obviously most of their results are coming at home. I mean, they've only lost 2 games all season.
Yeah, they beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, they've lost less than everybody apart from Arsenal. So we shouldn't be surprised. But it was a good performance, and they probably just about deserved the draw. I thought Arsenal massively missed Gyökeres. I said that on the game. I think that Moreno did his best, but you miss Yoker, and people talk about goals. It's not just that. It's the physicality, the occupying of the defenders, pushing them all around. So for Arsenal, it was difficult not having a forward. And they didn't. I thought they'd done enough. I thought I was actually thinking going into the final few minutes, you can't knock Arsenal here. They've gone behind. They found a way to win again. They're jumping all the barriers, but it'll probably do them good to not win. As funny as that sounds, because Man City are right on their tails now, and it's a different challenge for Arsenal. But look, in fairness to Sunderland, is it a bit of a blueprint to play Arsenal? Because when it was 1-0, I'm so used to teams playing with a back 10. That first goal where they play out from the back, those two defenders are isolated. They're on their own. Arsenal swamped them and they get in. And I thought, why are you doing that? But ultimately, they've took a point from Arsenal. So maybe it's a lesson to everybody else to stop parking the bloody bus and actually be a little bit more having your own game plan. And Sunderland stuck to their own game plan and they had chances and they scored 2 goals against a team that had only conceded 3 in the previous 10. So
I would say though, I would say though, they only had 2 shots on target and they scored from both. Arsenal did they hit the crossbar. They had quite a few chances there. There was a Zubimendi one. I think Arsenal, if they'd have been a bit more clinical, I think actually in that game, like you said, Mark, you made that point brilliantly. Gyökeres was really missed because you do need someone occupying defenders. Marino's not that type of guy. He's more going to be on the end of things. And also, Mikel Arteta has spoken about this earlier on in the season, the finishers, those players who can come on later on in a game. Arsenal just don't have them at the moment because they've got 7 injuries. Literally all their attacking players are out. They only had Max Dowman on the bench. No Martinelli, no Gyökeres, no Havertz, no Jesus. The good news for Arsenal, a lot of those players are coming back. Madueke's going to be coming back. Odegaard. I think a lot of people have sort of missed that. The Arsenal have done really, really well missing 7, quite key players. It's going to be really interesting to see how they get on when those players come back because that adds to the firepower. That means you can change things up because I could see that Eze and Saka were both running on empty. Should probably have came off before. So it'd be a big boost when those players come back for Arsenal, but not the end of the world for them. And it was a really entertaining game. The other really entertaining game, Spurs versus Manchester United, the early kickoff. You said you were really frustrated by it, Mark. Again, a great game for the neutral. Richarlison thought he'd won it, ripped his top.
He thought he'd won the World Cup, to be honest.
Thought he won the World Cup, right? But then De Ligt coming up with a massive header at the back. Poor defending by Spurs. And again, they dropped points at home.
To be honest, the bad defending from Spurs, I only started thinking about that last night because, you're so pumped up that United got an equaliser. But yeah, I couldn't think about that. But I think, it's Spurs. God, you're against 10 men and you don't mark the back post. I mean, Thomas Frank must have been furious with that. But it's a weird game. I felt, I predicted a draw. But in my heart, I thought we would win. I just didn't want to jinx it like the Forest game. And I think at half time, I was like, we're winning 1-0. We haven't played that well. Man United didn't play well. We didn't play that well. We took our chance. We're 1-0. And you think Spurs look really toothless. We're putting 10 men behind the ball. We've got a back 5. Our goalkeeper's decent. We won't make the same mistake as Forest where we were 1-0 up at half time. And then lo and behold, we're there again, 2-1 down. And I'm like, then it scores and it is, it's better than losing. But I've got to say, I think a lot of United fans, myself included, were a little bit like, the draw against Forest's fine, but the draw against Spurs, that's 2 weeks in a row where we're 1-0 up at half time against teams that aren't that good, especially at home. And we've somehow nearly lost both games. So great not to lose, but I think question marks have got to be posed because it's like, there's no reason for how bad we are in the second half. And we're not playing Man City. We're not playing Arsenal. We're playing Spurs and Forest. So but on the positive side, I look at the league table and I think we've got good run of games till Christmas. And you can't take anything guaranteed, but we've not missed out. We're still right in amongst it. It's not like last season. So we're in a good spot where we are after 11 games. But we've got to... this is the thing with Amorim. It's a bit like Arteta. It's going to take a few years to weed out these players that just don't have a 90-minute mentality that we've seen from the likes of Sunderland and Man City and Arsenal this weekend. So we're very lucky, I thought, but it's a good point. But I don't rate Spurs, Robbie. I don't rate Spurs.
No,
I think they're poor.
What was funny in that game was all the fans booing Thomas Frank, when he took off Xavi Simons, only for the players that he came on to make the impact, which was Tell scored and Odeberg as well made an impact, So what do those fans know? But yeah, it finished 2-2 in the end. Some of the other games, Everton winning by 2-0 over Fulham. Big win for West Ham. They beat Burnley by 3-2. That's back-to-back victories for them. Chelsea winning 3-0 against Wolves. I think we all expected that. Wolves not even got a manager at the moment. Rob Edwards going to be taking over there. That's a weird one, isn't it? You're leaving a team that's doing well in Middlesbrough in the Championship to join a team that looks almost certain to go down.
It must be a longer term project, isn't it? But then again, I can see why he's done it in a way. But I mean,
you say that,
you get sacked though, don't you? It's still a long way in the season. You might get sacked this season.
Yeah, exactly. Couple of the results of the day, I thought, or of the weekend, Villa beating Bournemouth 4-0. That was really impressive. Buendia, I don't know if you saw his free kick in the game. It was absolutely brilliant. That was really impressive by Aston Villa. And Brentford, yet again, big up to Brentford. 3-1 winners over Newcastle. This Keith Andrews deserves a lot of respect. A manager who lost so many key players. Wissa, he lost, they lost the manager, Thomas Frank. They lost Norgard. They've lost Mbuemo. And they're still, they're doing better than they did last year. Absolutely brilliant win. Eddie Howe, on the other end, starting to come under a bit of pressure. I've heard some murmurings from some Newcastle fans. They're not happy. Newcastle off to a bad start in the Premier League this season.
Well, I was just looking at it there. Brentford are 4th in the league for their home form, and that's where they're doing all the damage. Newcastle, it's sort of like the season they did before when they got in the Champions League, and then they just fall apart in the league. And I think for Newcastle, look, they're lucky the manager market's not very good. Liverpool fans have started talking about Slot, which is ridiculous. But if it carries on, they might need to do something. But you look at the manager market; it's not that great. But Newcastle, with how tight it is in the top half of the table, for them to not be there, I think there's something going wrong there. So I don't want Eddie Howe to lose his job because there's not many English managers in the game anyway. But there is something massively wrong with them at the moment, and maybe it is as simple as they just don't have the squad to deal with the Champions League and the Premier League. But I thought I'd just go back to Villa. I think that's a great performance, that is, because Bournemouth had lots of chances as well, and Villa have won 5 of the last 6, and so I think he's got them right back in against it again, and very, very good performance. Probably performance of the weekend, really. You probably give it Man City for beating Liverpool, but Villa beating Bournemouth 4-0. Bournemouth have been good as well.
No, it was back-to-back defeats for Bournemouth, though. Palace and Brighton drawing. I did say to you over on your channel on Friday, that game's always a draw, right? And Nottingham Forest, big win for them. They came from 1-0 down to get Sean Dyche's first victory, beating Leeds by 3-1. Leeds need to get themselves together as well. They're in a little bit of bother at the moment, hovering around the bottom. Let's go over the bottom. Wolves, rock bottom, 2 points, no wins this season. They are in huge trouble. Forest second from bottom on 9 points. West Ham third from bottom on 10. Burnley on 10. Leeds on 11. Fulham on 11. So there's a lot of teams in and around it. Newcastle, 12 points. That's only 2 off the bottom.
Got City next as well. They could be in the bottom 3.
Yeah, they've got City next. They really got to get their act together. If we look at the top, Arsenal still top on 26 points. 4 points behind them now. Manchester City in third place. Chelsea on 20. Sunderland still in the top 4 on 19. Spurs 5th on 18. As a matter of fact, there's a whole host of teams on 18 because Villa in 6th. Man United in 7th. Liverpool in 8th. Below Man United, right? And Bournemouth in 9th. All of them on 18 points. That just shows you how tight that is there, and teams can, get a good run of games together with some victories. They can really move up that table fast and challenge for that top 4. But it is very, very tight this season. Very, very tight. And very, very interesting Premier League so far. No one's running away with it.
Yeah, definitely. Loving it. I've got everything's delivering at the moment. You've got a title race, a relegation race, and it's so congested in the Champions League spots.
Let's get into our team of the week. Goalkeeper, I went with Emi Martinez. You know, as you said, Bournemouth did have a few chances. He kept them out. And 4-0 clean sheet against Bournemouth. I thought that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think he was. I watched a lot of that game, and he did have a good game. I was thinking Donnarumma. I thought Donnarumma did quite well, but I think
He
Martinez.
didn't have nothing to do though. I only remember him having to make one great save, and
yeah,
even
but
that,
he commands. He does command his box really well. He has got an aura, which I think is really important.
Yeah, he does.
Personality, but so Raya did quite well for Sunderland, for Arsenal, but he's conceded 2 goals. So yeah, I think Martinez.
He did. Raya did all right. I thought he was at fault on that final goal though. Because I think if he stays on his line, he wouldn't have got beaten. He came out. I've watched it back a few times, and I'm like, I can kind of see why he came off his line a bit. But if you come off your line,
triple save though, didn't he? You see that one?
Yeah, he did. But I wouldn't give him. Well, I wouldn't put him in team of the week.
Not for 2. Martinez, I'm happy with that one.
Yeah. All right, give me your back 4.
I agree with Ballard and De Ligt. I think they were very, very good. I thought Man City's fullback Nunes played well. I thought it was a brilliant cross for Haaland. But I think Gusto had a good game. I didn't really watch it, so I'll bow down to your better knowledge.
Scored Gusto.
Yeah, so that I can't argue with that. And I like that O'Reilly at Man City at left back. I was struggling at left back again, and I do like him. And I know he's been called up for England as well, hasn't he? So I think you've got to get some Man City players in. So I'm happy with that.
Yeah. So we've gone Gusto, Chelsea, O'Reilly, Man City, Ballard of Sunderland, and De Ligt, who scored that equaliser. Midfield, I'll give you my midfield. I went Rice, so I thought had a great game for us. He literally brought us back into that game. It was unbelievable, his performance in that second half. I know people might argue for some other midfielders this weekend, but I was there and I saw how good he was and how important he was. Also, Granit Xhaka was very important for Sunderland. I thought he was really, really good in there. And I got to go Emi Buendia. I thought, guys come back off a long-term injury, looked good in that game against for Villa, scored an unbelievable free kick as well. I love to see great free kicks like that.
The one player I think I would put in there is that Nico at Man City. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. And if Doku hadn't have been on the pitch, I think he'd be man of the match. I think he's got to be in there for me. But yeah, I mean,
Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Okay, who are we taking out then?
Probably, in fairness, it'd have to be one of the Arsenal or Sunderland's. I mean, Rice or Xhaka, one of those. I don't think I'd put them both in there. I would put him in.
Let me be unbiased here. Sorry, Xhaka, you're out.
Well, to be fair, he did do well, but I think you're right. I think without some key players, and I think Declan Rice did have a good game. I do agree, and Xhaka's had a great. I mean, I think one of the best things I heard yesterday is who's signing of the season, and obviously as a United fan, I want to push Mbeumo, but actually, I think it's not always about goals and price tag. I think Xhaka's been an amazing.
He's been so influential, hasn't he?
Yeah,
you can see that
he can have signing of the season with Mbeumo and get out. We'll put that Nico Gonzalez in.
Yeah, I'll call it now, right? Granit Xhaka is going to be a manager one day. I think he'd be a good manager as well. I really do. Yeah. Up front.
Yeah, I've got no arguments with what I've seen from you. I think Thiago Brentford's got to be there. Doku, brilliant, and
unbelievable.
In fairness, the Trossard goal was very, very good, and I mean, I thought Saka did quite well as well, to be fair. But
yeah, Saka was good.
Trossard was Chelsea good. Fans wanting Garnacho in, I ain't never going to put him in. So I'm happy with Trossard.
Yeah, no, I thought Trossard played really well. He also had could have had a couple of assists in the game as well. Some really good passes into the box, and he scored a worldie. Like you said, Doku, unbelievable, and that Igor Thiago is, I think he's second top goal scorer in the league. I'm sure of it, and he's been.
He will.
Yeah, he's been. Well, they're talking about maybe a call up for him for Brazil. He's come from nowhere. Sorry?
24, yeah. He's got a move in, hasn't he? They'll get some money out of him.
Brentford, but he's had a lot of injury problems. But, the big dogs are gone in Wissa and Mbeumo. And, Ivan Toney's moved on in the past. And now he sees this chance. And you got to hand it to Brentford, the way they just, keep producing these players. That Sharda had a good game as well. They're looking all right. Nobody wants to play them right now at their grounds. I'll tell you that. They're a serious handful. But those are that's our team of the week. obviously, no Premier League games, the last of the international breaks before we head towards Christmas. Just to remind everybody that we're going to be doing a special live stream on Friday the 14th of November here on DR Sports. Mark's going to be joining us for part of that as well. It's a 12-hour live stream where we're raising money for the victims of Hurricane Melissa in Jamaica that has been really devastating to the island. Lots of people there still homeless, without food and water and electricity. So we're trying to do our bit, see if we can help them. And also, Jamaica got some qualification. This could be good for the country if Jamaica qualifies for the World Cup. They've got 2 World Cup qualifiers. If they win both of those, they're through to the World Cup. And I think that would be a major boost for the country if they could do that.
Win?
I think they will. They've got Trinidad. Which that's Trinidad away. That's going to be pretty difficult game, but they've already beaten Trinidad. And then the last one is Curacao. If they beat them, I think if they definitely beat them, because they're the nearest rivals, then they're on the way to the World Cup. And I think that would be a major boost for the island if they can do that. But let's wait and see. But Mark, thank you very much as always.
Thank you.
We're going to have to wait to see how we all got on in
it was a good week. It was a good
draw.
Week. There's some good picks for both of us, to be fair.
Yeah. There was some decent. Am I right that I was looking at it. Did any away team win this weekend? No, I'm looking at. Yeah, no away side won a game this weekend. Not one of them. Right? They either lost or drew. Crazy, isn't it?
Some weird results. Even Bayern Munich didn't win this weekend, which is really weird. It's just just shows you football can chuck up these results, which is great.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Mark, thank you very much. Thanks very much to you guys. Let us know your team of the week. Do you agree with us? We know you always do totally agree with us because we know what we're talking about. No, you don't. Right. So let us know in the comments, and we'll see you again on the next one.